Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 703. My opponent kicked off with e4, and I played knight f6, trying to get into the Alechen's defense, which is normally characterized by the move e5, and you get the typical lines. But my opponent declines to play the main line of the Alechen and goes knight c3 instead. So I play e5 here, and we can see it's the top choice. You can stay out of king's pawn opening lines, I guess, if you want to, by playing d5. Maybe that's more in the spirit of the Alechens, but actually e5 in this position is a good move. This is a Vienna game, or perhaps a four knights. It would be a four knights if he played knight to f3 on this move, and that's the most common move here. But the way my opponent played it with bishop c4, this is a Vienna game, and this opening is fine for black, so really nothing to worry about. I play normal moves for a while. I play knight c6, he goes d3, and well, here I play bishop e7, which I thought was a normal developing move. But the best move here is knight a5, also just developing this bishop to c4 or to b5, c4 or to b5. One of those two squares would be more active than the way I played it in the game. Yeah, bishop to e7 is a little bit passive here. So he goes with f4 immediately. That's often the idea with the Vienna game. Try and get in this f4 move, turn it into kind of a king's pawn or king's gambit opening with some extra moves thrown in. Although the top choice here is knight f3, but f4 is okay as well. And it's probably a little bit of a mistake to take here. It kind of helps white's development when I grab right away. I could just play with d6. Let's see, let's follow the main line a little bit. Knight f3 and castles. Also, just castling immediately was okay there. Castles. And then knight a5 going after the bishop. Also, I looked at this with a chess engine, and it also thinks taking on f5 at this point is a valid way to play. Anyway, at this point I played, let's see, after f4 I just took right away, and we're out of the opening book at this point. So he took back, and even though it's not the best move, white doesn't have such a huge advantage, but white has some chances here with the open f-file. I mean, it's really basically an even game at this point. Let's see, I play d6, he went knight f3, and I went bishop to e6. Once again, I should get in this knight a5 move somehow. The chess engine is recommending castling first and then playing knight a5, going after that bishop and pretty much winning the bishop pair. I guess you castle first so that he doesn't have the bishop check. And anyway, that's the way to play this. I went bishop e6, and this doesn't... well, it gives him a way to not give up the bishop pair. Basically, the other lines, white has to give up the bishop pair, and black has some kind of edge, or at least equality. Here, white maintains the bishop pair, and by the time I finally play knight a5, it's actually a little too late. Now he can escape this situation through tactical means, and he plays this part really well. Both of us have been playing decent moves, by the way, up till this point. Let's see, he takes here, I take back, and now he can take this guy off, and so he doesn't lose the bishop pair. Neither side has the bishop pair. And well, I wasn't too unhappy with this development. I get castled, and my rook is opposite his bishop, and I'll have to waste a move getting my knight back into the game, and he'll have to waste a move protecting his bishop. Should be about equal. But he makes a little mistake here. He castles, and really the best move here is to just play queen d2. Queen d2 is just to defend the bishop, and he's got flexibility now. He could actually castle on the queen side or the king side, although king side castling is still logical. He wants to get the rook on the open f-file and oppose my rook, but there's no particular advantage for white in this position. I can just bring my knight back, like I said, and everything is fine. It's all about equal. So after he castles, I have the advantage with this tactic, which I discovered during the game, but I didn't quite follow it up in the most effective way. So the tactic is just based on this simple idea that his bishop is loose. So I have a desperado piece here in my bishop. I can give it away And so I play bishop takes c3, get a pawn for it. And so he counters with the desperado, which is, I guess that's okay at this point. Oh, no. Yeah, actually, that's a mistake. He should probably just take my bishop, and then I take his bishop, and he just is down a pawn. And so black is better in all lines of this combination, except for the way I play it. So after bishop takes d6, he's in more trouble than before. And so this is your tactical quiz, your first one for this video. What's the best continuation for black in this position? Okay, pause the video if you want time to think about it, and well, I recommend it. This is a great position to exercise your tactics. So pause the video and think about it till you come up with an answer. I'm going to give the answer away now. Well, first of all, if you thought of the move bishop to d4 check, that's actually a good idea, and that kind of gets the bishop out of a little trouble, and after he responds to it, you can grab this bishop. But it's not the best move. I just wanted to mention that in case you thought of that. That's like the second best move. The best move here is rook takes f3. This is a killer move. So first of all, you've gotten the rook away from the threat of his bishop, and you're threatening to continue and just take off the rook with check and just be a piece up. And when he takes the rook back, then you can play bishop to d4 check. Get this bishop out of trouble, and also this knight is gone, so that bishop is not loose on that square. And he's got to deal with the check, and then you can grab his bishop. And so what is that? That is 2 pieces for a rook. But well, it's also an excellent position for for black. So anyway, yeah, the chess engine right side is just winning. So the tactic I played, the way I continued, I thought I was just winning a pawn here. I just keep taking stuff. He's attacking my rook. I'm attacking his rook. But he has a move at the end, which leaves him with an advantage. Let's see. He played bishop takes rook. I played bishop takes rook. He played queen takes bishop. I play queen takes bishop. All this part I had calculated. And now he has the move queen to e5, and that's the move that kind of turns things around for white. Because I'm a pawn up at this point, but this final move at the end of the combination is a double attack. It hits my knight, and it hits the pawn. So he gets the pawn back, and whatever I do here, he's just better. I mean, the number of pawns is the same, but these pawns in the center are more dangerous than my pawns. They're further advanced, and that's a passed pawn. So so this is good for white. I mean, maybe winning with good play, it's hard to say, but definitely the white came out of that combination better because of the way I played it, and it's because I played the bishop takes b2 here. Although that's a little hard to see, right? That I had to look ahead quite a few moves. Although the exchanges, I guess, are forced. I just had to notice at the end of the exchanges that he's got this good move, queen to e5. And so that's the kind of thing you should always look for. At the end of your calculated sequence, you should always look and say, okay, but is there a joker? You know, is there a final move here that my opponent has that messes things up? And the answer was yes, he had a move here. But he didn't play that. So he played knight to g5, which is a big blunder. And so here's a simple tactic for you. What's the move for black here? Okay, I'm going to give the answer away now. Pause the video if you want time to think about it. Yeah, there's a fork here. pretty straightforward tactic. Queen check picks up the knight. So knight g5 was a big blunder. And when I played queen e7, defending the pawn that he was attacking here, that was an equally big blunder because I could have just won the game outright right there. Let's see. So now he plays this queen e5 move, hitting my knight over here and hitting the pawn. And I retreat, and we're in this position where he's won that central pawn, and he's got an even number of pawns, but he has the majority in the center and the dangerous passed pawn. So white's got an advantage here. Let's see. I took the queens off. I don't know if I have anything better there, and then brought my rook into, well, I brought my rook over to defend the c-pawn, which was under attack and also blocked, so it couldn't move forward. And now he pushes on with d4. This is all good. Go knight e7. He goes d5. stopping me from playing c6. I mean, I really want to play c6 and and liberate my rook, so it doesn't have to babysit that pawn all the time. And he's stopping it by playing d5. So good play by white there. Let's see, I went knight g6. And I went rook f5. So here was his chance to get a winning advantage. And that would be to continue with rook to c1 here, putting more pressure on this pawn that I can't defend. And, well, the chess engine has this long sequence here, but basically it ends up with me losing the pawn. It just leaves us hanging here because, well, I can't push it forward because he will take it, and I can't take because my rook is loose in the back rank. So I'm kind of stuck in this position, and so he has time to just bring his king up. Let's see, I can try and bring my knight around to undermine things, but he can then hop his knight over here to d4, putting more pressure on the c pawn. And at this point, the chess engine says I just have to give up that pawn, and I don't see anything either. So white is winning. White is a pawn up. We're in an endgame, and his extra pawn is a passed pawn. So that would be how white should play this. Instead, he went rook to f5. It's also kind of a logical move, activating that rook and maybe trying to put some pressure on my king here. I went rook to e8. But this leads to a position which is basically drawn. So let's see, I went rook e8. I'm trying to slow down his knight. And also, if the knight takes the pawn, slow down the pawns because it leaves the knight hanging. And also, if he plays knight takes c7, then I can grab the e pawn at least. Let's see, so he brings his king in. It's all logical. And now I go c6, undermining his knight. So he moves the knight, goes knight to c5, and now I exchange off this pawn. So now he still has his passed pawn in the center, but I think I'm in time to stop it. Let's see, I went b6 here, kicking his knight. He went knight to e6, and I went rook to e7, and he ran out of time. I just wanted to mention that I was wondering if I had any chances with my pawns over here on the queen side, and I'm just too slow. The engine thinks actually rook e7 was a bit of a mistake, and now he can just keep bringing his king in. And if I play my rook over here to put it in front of the pawn, that was my plan. He can just bring his king forward and hold on to everything, and now his pieces are free to move. And it's really difficult for me to escape from this box that he's got my king in. And there's always mating ideas. Rook to here is mate if this knight ever moves. So I'm all tied up, and yeah, so white should win this endgame. But I still had drawing chances here in this position before I played rook e7, and he ran out of time. If I played knight e7, this is a straightforward, well, I don't know how straightforward it is, but this leads to a draw. Let's see, the rook has to move, so we can play the rook here, threatening on g7. That kind of gains a tempo. I play g6, and now he can push this pawn forward, kicking my knight. Knight goes to c6 with the threat on his knight. His knight goes to c7, and my rook goes to d8. And it looks like this is the kind of position I could have gotten to where I've managed to stop his pawn, and also my king is free to come into the game. And so it looks like I can hold this as a draw, but I also have winning chances. His knight over here is restraining my pawns, and I just need to have my king ready to stop his pawn at all times. So it looks like I can't really make any progress. So in this position, well, here it's actually a draw. Here he ran out of time and lost, but he still had winning chances after my rook e7 move. Anyway, interesting game. Hope you guys liked this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.